All right, we are live. Hey guys, what's up? This is Sarah from harmoniousduo.com. As you can see today, I am part one. I'm doing this hangout solo. Brandon is off running errands for the business. So I thought that I would come in and host this solo. Also, I wanted to let you know if you did not receive the email that I was sending out for the week ahead, where I listed out all of the topics we'll be discussing for the week. If you did not receive that email, I apologize. We're experiencing some technical glitches with our email system right now. Not to worry, our support staff is on it. But I wanted to let you know that the reason why we're having this hangout, this particular conversation, an hour earlier than we normally do is due to the fact that I have a doctor's appointment at the time of our normal hangout time. So that's why we're here an hour early. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that was understood. The remainder of our hangouts will be at the normal time at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So anyone tuning in, the remainder of the hangouts will be at the normal schedule time. And I promise the emails with the information will be sent out on time this time. Okay, so we wanted to, well, I wanted to come in and have a conversation with you guys today about something, really important, and that's the topic of losing your customers. One of the reasons why we chose to talk about this topic today is because the fact that, if you have a site for your business or your product or your service, right, you have like a blog, then it's really important for you to be able to keep that reader and potential customer on your site for as long as possible. So you can do a couple of things. One, so that you can provide them the value that they came there for. And then also so you can bump up your customer retention time and decrease your bounce rate. That's the main underlying topic of today's conversation is working on your bounce rate. Now, if you don't know what a bounce rate is, don't worry, I didn't either. Brandon and I, we started our blogging journey about 18 months ago, soon to be 19. And if you had asked me what a bounce rate was, I couldn't have even made up an answer. I had no clue. The thought of diving into like all those technical terms and aspects and stuff, I wasn't quite there yet. And so I definitely didn't know what our bounce rate was, which is something that you must know if you're attempting to monetize your content or if you're attempting to provide a site for, just pure value. Everyone should know what their bounce rate is. And, I think out of the 18 months we've been blogging, I think it's safe to say that for the first 16 months almost, and I'm ashamed to say this, we did not know what our bounce rate was. We had no clue, not at all, none. So we didn't know how long our readers were staying on our site. We didn't know, we didn't know the elements that were interfering with our potential customers, with them staying on our site. We had no clue what it was we could change about our site that could help retain these potential customers even longer and increase them as a potential lead to an actual buying customer. And so, not knowing these things really hurt our business. It really harmed our overall revenue growth and our ability to just build and expand our business the way that we wanted to online, like one of the whole reasons why we got online in the first place. And so, if you don't know what a bounce rate is, don't worry, because by the end of this presentation, by the end of this conversation, you will know exactly what a bounce rate is. You'll know why yours is probably sucking. And you'll also know, most importantly, like tips and strategies that you can implement right away by as soon as we're done with this talk. You'll have tips and strategies you can implement right away to potentially decrease your bounce rate and improve your overall site experience for your user. So if that sounds like a plan, which I hope it does, then go ahead and take out a pen, a piece of paper, so you can jot down these notes, because you're going to want to reference these not only while we're going through this talk, but so you have them for future use. Okay. Now, a bounce rate, simply put, without having to go like all Google tech terms on you guys, is it's simply the percentage of a user literally bouncing away from your site. Does that make sense? So, for example, our site is a blog, and blogs, the industry bounce rate is between 70 and 98%. And the reason why it seems like such a high bounce rate is because typically bloggers promote a single post at a time. And so what that means is if you're looking at your bounce rate and you're seeing that your bounce rate is just like through the roof, it sucks really bad, then chances are what that's telling you is that you have a lot of people who are coming to your site, and then within seconds, if not almost right away, they're immediately bouncing off of your site to either click the exit button on the tab, or to go to Facebook, to go to a social media platform, or to go check their email. They're simply navigating off of your site to go to somewhere else. And that is exactly what we do not want to have happen. We do not want you to have a site where people are coming to it and saying, meh, I'm going to go back to Facebook. Like, that's what we don't want, right? Because the whole point of having our site is so that we can have a place to monetize our content, provide value to the challenges our audience is facing, and then, you know, through that process, turn them from a reader to a lead to a paying customer. Now, you can't do that if they're bouncing off and they're not staying on your site. So that's the big problem, you know, having a terrible bounce rate. And in fact, I wrote a blog post about this, I think it was in December or early January, and I basically likened it. You should be able to see it over on the side of your screen. I likened it to, you know, a bad Justin Bieber concert. And if you're on here and you like Justin Bieber, I cannot be held responsible for your emotional damage that me saying his concerts suck really bad, like bad bounce rates. I can't be held responsible for that. But it's very similar, at least in my opinion, you know. If you have a bad bounce rate, you know, then you're not going to increase the revenue coming into your business, no matter how good your product or service is. It's just not going to happen. And we know that from experience. We have like the data to back it up. Now, if you want to know what your bounce rate is, if you want to know how to access your bounce rate, then all you have to do is sign into a Google Webmasters Tools account. It's very easy to do. You just, you know, Google Webmaster Tools for Google, and it'll walk you through like the 3-step process of activating your account. You know, all you do is you attach your main site URL. For instance, ours is theharmoniousduo.com, so we would input www.theharmoniousduo.com, and then we simply connect that to the Google Webmaster account, and, you know, it'll automatically give us updated information on things like our bounce rate. That's exactly how we were able to go from, you know, 15, 16 months of not knowing our bounce rate to now, through these last couple of months, finally knowing what it is and what we can do about it to improve the experience for our users. Because, you know, the whole purpose of your blog is so that you can provide like the best user experience for your readers, because your blog is for your readers. The content is for your readers. All of it is for your readers. So if your readers are telling you by constantly navigating off of your site that they're not having a good experience, you know, that's a problem. So we're going to give you solutions to those issues right now. So why does your bounce rate suck? Most likely. Okay, here we go. Are you ready for this? It's quite simple, but it's so often overlooked. Now, your bounce rate most likely sucks for 2 reasons, 1 of 2. One is because what it tells you if your bounce rate sucks is that your visitors are coming to your page through either self-promotion or organic search engine search results, right? They're coming to your site and they're navigating away from it because they're not finding what they came for. They're not finding what they were looking for. This is why it's so important. You heard us talk in, I think it was like 2 Hangouts ago, we were talking about headline tips for your email subject lines and your blog post titles. And we mentioned how it's really important that your titles match your content. Well, the same thing has to work with your overall blog or your overall site. The content, like the purpose of what's on the site, has to match the audience you're targeting. So for example, if our blog targets bloggers, social media marketers, sorry, just mind blank right here, entrepreneurs looking to build a business online through online tools, you know, if that's like our general audience for our blog, for example, you know, it's not going to serve us. It's going to give us, if we were to put that site, right, and promote it to an audience of people looking to learn how to cook from home, our bounce rate is going to go through the roof. It's going to suck really bad because our audience doesn't match our content and our content doesn't match our audience. Does that make sense? So this is really important. One of the reasons why your bounce rate probably sucks, why you're losing customers most likely, is because of the fact that your readers are telling you, they're trying to tell you, look, when we come to your site, we're not finding what we came here for. We thought coming to your site would provide us. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry for that. Break state, my daughter's going to the bathroom. I just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. Okay. So what happens is, one of the reasons why your bounce rate may suck is because of the fact that your readers are signaling to you that they thought they were coming to your site for something totally different, or they came to your site, they found somewhat of an idea of what they were looking for, but they weren't finding the exact quality of information they were looking for. So they found a little bit, but they didn't find everything, which is also, something that needs to be worked on. Now, a second element to why your bounce rate probably sucks is because of the fact that your web page is too difficult for your users to use. Remember, the whole purpose of a site, a blog, a static website, which we don't recommend those at all. We've spoken about that in previous hangouts, but sticking with a blog, it's really important that you remember when you're building your blog or your blog site that everything is for the user experience. Yes, of course, you want to have a site that you are proud to promote, that you enjoy looking at, but it's so important to keep in the back of your mind that everything that you're designing, all the elements you're putting into place, are for the best experience of your user. Okay? So if your bounce rate sucks, it's because you've got too many people navigating away from your site because they're not finding what they thought they'd find, or they're not finding exactly enough of the information they thought they were going to find. And then also, your web page is too difficult to use. Maybe it's the text is too hard to read. Maybe there's too many pop-ups, right? We'll discuss more in depth later on down the road in this conversation. But those are the things that you should be looking at once you find your bounce rate. And if you were to compare it to your average industry based off what type of site you have, right? Remember, for bloggers, it's about 70 to 98%. Okay. Now remember that's high the way it is because oh my goodness. 1 second, guys. I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. And sorry you had to see me in my sweats. It's laundry day, so don't judge me. Okay, but back to our topic of conversation, bounce rates. Just like if your website's like too difficult to use, right? You could have like so many pop-ups, right, that it interferes with the experience. Maybe things that are supposed to be clickable aren't clickable, or maybe if you're like my fiance and you love ridiculously bright neon orange colors and you have like all of that on your site, then that's that might be something you might want to look at for your website ease of use. So what can you do about it, right? Okay, now you know what a bounce rate is, you know what it means if you have a crappy bounce rate, but what do you do about it, right? I'm not here to just tell you, hey, your bounce rate sucks, that sucks for you. I'm here to tell you like what you can do about it. Okay, so like how can you solve this issue? How can you solve this challenge? Well, one, pay attention, like I said just a second ago, to your site's ease of use. Now, if you're building your site and you're questioning, is my site easy to use? For you, it may very well be because you're the one that built it. You're the one who designed it. You're the one who put all the elements in place. But something that's really valuable to implement is before you start promoting your new site, have someone else go through it as a brand new user. So have maybe someone in your family, a trusted friend, an acquaintance, like a business acquaintance who, you trust to give an honest feedback. Like, have them go through the process of navigating through your site and giving you feedback as to how easy they thought it was to navigate through your site. That's a good indicator before you, just launch that blog publicly. That'll give you a good opportunity to look at what they're giving you as feedback and then tweak, anything prior to publishing. Now, if you've already published your site, don't worry. You can always go back and tweak things and make the ease of use better through these tips. Okay, so if you have someone that that you trust to give you like concise, honest feedback, then you might want to bring them in and just be like, hey, I need a favor. Would you mind just, going through my site and letting me know if it was easy to use? If not, can you point out where you found it difficult so I can fix it? And chances are they will. If not, just, like buy them a Starbucks or something. Another one that you can do is minimizing your error pages. Like, how many times have you gone to someone else's website or someone else's blog and you wanted to go click on an article and it's not there? It says, error, this article cannot be found, or error, this page cannot be found. Like, how irritating is that? Because you wanted that information and it was right there a second ago, and now it's saying that it's not. Those error pages are huge red flags that can increase your bounce rate, that can incentivize basically your user to bounce way away from your site, because not only are they not getting the information they were looking for, but they're being told, hey, it was here and now it's not. Too bad, so sad. So focus on any error pages you have. And again, you can do this two ways. You can either have someone that you trust go through your site and see if there's any error pages and report them back to you, or you can connect this to your in your Google Webmaster account that we talked about just a moment ago. They'll display how many error pages you have, and then you can go about correcting those error pages as you see fit based off whatever type of page it was. Okay. Another one that you can do is focus on your load time, like your page load up time. This is super important because we have such like super short attention span, right? Like, how many times have you attempted to go to a site and it's not even 3 seconds later and it's still not loading? How many times, and be honest, do you click away from that site? You're just like, it's not worth it. I don't want to be here anymore because it's not coming up. It's 3 seconds. Like, that's 3 seconds of my life that you just wasted. You're most likely not going to come back to that site because it took too long to load. So one thing that you can do to help decrease your bounce rate is to maximize and speed up your page's load time. And there's a lot of things that you can do, like a lot of elements to put into play that can help speed up your page load. Decreasing any iframes that you have for multimedia on your page. Decreasing the amount of pop-ups or the type of pop-ups. Like, if you have like animated pop-ups coming up every 5 seconds, that's going to decrease your page load up speed, which will ultimately increase your bounce rate. And then let's see something else that you can do. Let's see something else. Like, if you have too many HTML elements on your site, right? Maybe you have like an animated theme for your blog or for your website. That also comes in as a factor, is how fast your stuff loads, especially if it's across multiple platforms, because what loads fast on a desktop might not load as fast on a mobile phone, or vice versa. Something to look into is your page speed. Another one is making sure that you're providing high quality content of value to your readers, and making sure that everything matches, everything lines up, like everything is concise and consistent. Your blog should read like an online magazine. If for ladies, when you go and you read Cosmo, we'll go with that. You read Cosmo, that when you go to read Cosmo, you're gonna get fashion tips, you're gonna get beauty tips. I think you're going to get sex tips. It's been a while since I read that magazine. And you're going to get entertainments. You're going to get entertainment. That you're going to get those 4 things from that magazine. So everything within those pages contains one of those elements. It's consistent. It's concise. The same thing has to happen for your blog. If you want to decrease your bounce rate and keep your potential customers on your site, you want to make sure that everything is concise. So if you're blogging about, let's say, if you're blogging about health tips, okay, then you want to make sure that all of your content is focused on strategies, on recipes, on workout tips, things that relate how a person can become healthy. You don't want to throw in, hey, on your binge day, here's like 75 things you can have on binge day, you know, because that detracts the user or your reader or your potential customer from remaining focused on your overall goal, which is helping them get healthy. Does that make sense? And then another thing to look for is white space. Now, oftentimes we've kind of transitioned into this phase on online where sites are just filled like corner to corner. There's like zero white space. And by white space, you know, I simply just mean areas of, you know, literal white space, you know, like empty space. There's no text. There's no like multimedia stuff popping up. There's no static ads. You know, there's no images, no videos, like none of that. There's simple white space. And a lot of that is due to because of some marketing data had provided information that customers increased their probability of purchasing when there was like a lot of stuff on the site. Okay, well, according to that data, yes, that's true, but that can harm you, okay? Because you want to remember like what the purpose of your blog is for. It's to provide content, a safe place for them to come and find content without feeling sold at every turn, okay? And it's also to give them a safe place to transition from a potential, you know, from a prospect to a lead to a paying customer, okay? Now, during this process, if they're on your site and they feel like all you're in it for is the sale and all you want to do is find ways to get into their wallet, that's going to increase your bounce rate, right? Because people are going to feel like if they come to your site, all I'm going to get is sold on something. Someone's going to push something down my throat and I don't enjoy that experience. Therefore, they'll navigate and bounce off your site. Our purpose here is to decrease your bounce rate. So do a little testing and implement white space in your blog. Don't be afraid of white space. It can be very beneficial. In fact, if you go to our site, theharmoniousduo.com, you'll see that we are definitely not afraid of white space. Everything is we have media where media should be, we have text where text should be, and we have white space where white space should be. Something to look into, okay? Another one is, did I say that already? Yes, I did. Okay, it's making sure that your landing pages, right? So if you have your content and you're hyperlinking text to go to a landing page for your customers, whether it's to a free download giveaway, whether it's to an ebook, a video, or an order form, you want to make sure that what you hyperlinked, the text you hyperlinked, matches the general idea of what they'll find when they click on that link to go to the page. Does that make sense? So for example, if you say, you know, click here to learn more about how to make money blogging, right? And when they click that page, it takes them to like a parental, you know, a parenting site. Your user is going to be very confused because it's not fluid, it's not consistent, it's not congruent, it doesn't match. And so therefore they're going to assume, well, if this link doesn't match, then none of the other ones do. And if none of the links, right, go to where they're supposed to go, or they go to where, you know, if they're not going to what's most beneficial for me, then that must mean that not only does this page suck, right, because it's misleading, but all of the pages are going to be like that. And if your user thinks that all of your pages are going to be like that, again, they're going to bounce. Okay. Another one is having a multi-device responsive layout. Okay, so what I mean by multi-device responsive layout is, can your site function on a desktop as well as a laptop, as well as a tablet, an iPad, and a mobile device? Okay, if your site is unresponsive on any of those elements, because something to keep in mind, guys, is that we have users that are quickly shifting away from spending so much time on their desktop to on their iPad or their tablet or their phone, because it's easier to take that on the go, right? So this is why it's so important to make sure that whatever blog you're creating, whatever site for your business, product, or service you're creating, that it's multi-device responsive. So if I come to your site on a desktop, I'm going to expect it to work and look very similar and function the exact same way as it would if I were to access it from my iPad. From my iPad, it should function in a same manner on my phone. Now, if I attempt to at any time access your site from something other than a desktop and it says can't do it, you're going to increase your bounce rate. Therefore, you're going to be basically telling your readers, everything has to be accessible for your users, okay? So if at any time you're telling them, sorry, but you can't access my site unless you're a special desktop user because I only like desktop users, you're gonna be cutting your audience, not in half, but like by 75%, if not more, because you have to remember the site is not for you, it's for your users. So make sure that it's multi-device responsive, okay? And your final piece is making sure that on your site, you're sectioning off your content, okay? So making sure that, if you go to our site, you'll see that over to the right of our website, we have our stuff sectioned off. We have a search bar. We have an image for you to access your Kalatu blog if you're interested in a for-profit blogging platform. And directly underneath that, we have a section specifically dedicated to indexing our content. So if you would like to easily search and navigate our site based off of a particular content theme, right? If you want to know just about blogging, we have a section for that. If you want to know just about social media, we have a section for that. If you want to know just about email marketing, we have a section for that. Everything is properly indexed, categorized, and sectioned off to make the site very easy for our users to enjoy. So they know that when they go to the top of our site, they see a home page, they see an option for them to participate in a 21-day blogging challenge to help build up their blogging habits. Everything is perfectly sectioned off to where nothing interferes with the overall user experience, okay? This is how, these are the exact same tips that we were able to implement in our blogging like 2 or 3 months ago that have allowed us to decrease our bounce rate. Like I said, our industry bounce rate is about 70 to 98%. We're now almost down to 64%. And before, it was like way above. It was like almost at 100% before, because of the fact that, we had no idea of any of this information. Guys, you don't know what you don't know. And now you know, implement this stuff. It really works. Okay. So now that you know what a bounce rate is, how to fix it, that should address the big problem of your site not being able to keep your readers and potential customers. You're losing too many potential buyers, right? Because of the fact that just stuff's not gelling on your site, and your bounce rate is telling you you've got some work to do. So if you want to go from a high bounce rate to a decreased bounce rate, implement the tips that I've shared with you in this conversation. And if you want more information about this, then over to your right, you'll see access to the blog post that I wrote about this. There's an amazing infographic that I got from QuickSprout that goes into more case studies, and there's like a lot more facts and stuff that you can learn to help implement and take over to your site as well. Now, if you, of course, another solution to decreasing your bounce rate is making sure that you're implementing your content on a site that is, that has all of these elements involved already. And a site that you have access to right now is the exact same one that we use for our business, and that's the Kalatu brand station. That's the for-profit blogging platform that I mentioned a moment ago. Now, if you would like to begin monetizing your content on a platform that's specifically designed for that purpose, if you would like a blogging platform that is completely built out for you, meaning there's no coding, there's no tech stuff involved, you can get up and running in as little as 10 minutes. And it's so easy to use and maintain. You simply drag and drop whatever it is you want, to change about your blog, I mean, keep in mind, guys, we've had testers use this, and we've had people had their blogs up in as little as 4 minutes. We had someone do theirs in about 7.5. We had 12-year-olds test out this site for one of our blogging partners, and she had her 12-year-old kids, test out this site, and they were able to build a blog, a really nice looking blog, by the way, in just about 10 minutes. So all of this on the website, on this blog platform, is very easy for you to use, and it's a safe place for you to monetize your content, and you don't have to worry about like all the tech headache and stuff, and it's very easy for you to maintain. So if there's any changes that you need to make that can help increase your user experience and decrease your bounce rate, we have all of that built in there for you. And another really cool thing that you can use in conjunction with this new blog platform, Kalatu, is something that QuickSprout uses, and it's an SEO score site analyzer. So over to the right, towards the very bottom, you'll see an opportunity for you to, you can click that link, and it'll take you to a URL site that all you have to do is input your URL of your blog or your site, and it scores, right? It goes through and it analyzes your site for you, and it scores your site and tells you exactly where your errors are coming from. So it'll tell you, hey, you need to, work on these elements to get your page speed load up. You need to work on these elements because you have too many error messages. Work on, it tells you all of those things, and it gives you like an A, B, C, D, E, or A, B, C, D, or F as far as your site goes. So it's a really cool tool that that as soon as we switched over to the Kalatu blogging platform and we ran it through the QuickSprout analyzer tool, we were able to see exactly where our site stood and then go back and switch around any of the elements that we needed to switch to help increase our user experience, keep our customers on our site longer, and decrease our overall bounce rate. Something really cool for you to look into. Now, if you'd like to take action and switch over to our Kalatu blogging platform, we have an access opportunity for you right over to the right of your screen, and you're gonna get a 7-day trial for $9. You can come in, test out our site, see how easy it is to use, how responsive it is on multiple devices, and you'll see that all of these elements that we shared with you on how to decrease your bounce rate is practically built in for you in this site. So you have your opportunity to do that by clicking the button over to the right. More information about how to decrease your bounce rate is also over to the side of your screen, as well as the SEO analyzer tool. I hope you guys got tons of value from this conversation we had today. If not, feel free to replay until everything sinks in. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow.